What is a semi-fascist?
Listen, I think that let's not get caught up in
words.
And this is what the left does. They project and they accuse you of doing exactly what it is that they are doing. They accuse you of being a fascist. It's really important to note the difference between people who are in power and people who aren't. When people are in power and the only decisions they make are to accrue more power and to silence dissent. Again, Donald Trump, my complaint is he didn't do a whole lot with social media. He talked a big game, but he wanted everyone to be allowed on the platforms. Have you heard en masse Republicans, the semi-fascists, calling for liberals to be removed for misinformation? No, look, I don't even think anyone's going to argue it. Have you heard Republicans calling for people, conservatives, to be removed because they say, hey, you know what, maybe we need to strengthen our election integrity and have voter ID? No, it doesn't even exist. I don't know who's buying this. It really is weird, but this is where we have this chasm. So August 25th, Biden called Republicans semi-fascists, of course. He said, it's not just Trump. It's not a joke. It's the entire philosophy that underpins. It's almost like semi-fascism. And of course, President Kamala Harris agreed with Chuck Todd to Meet the Press.
What is a semi-fascist?
Listen, I think that let's not get caught up in
words.
In politicizing the fact that most people in America know that it is not helpful to our country when we have people who are denying elections or trying to obstruct the outcome
She means Hillary
of
Clinton.
an election where the largest number of people in our country voted for the President of the United States.
It makes no sense, but the undercurrent is terrifying.
At least she's not the leader of the free world.
Well,
right.
At least for the amount of facelift she's had, she doesn't have wrinkles all over her neck.
Well, she still does.
Oh, yeah, you're
You
right.
said that with a little bile.
I don't like her.
Yeah, I can't stand her. She's really tough to watch.
I know.
She's tough to watch, and she is the definition. She was last place.
Last.
She's job insurance for Biden.
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
She called the president racist, and then when she was like, oh, by the way, this is my VP.
This is my VP.
And we were all supposed to go, but didn't she? All right.
Yeah.
Whatever, that's fine.
Wasn't she dead last? So here's another truth. There's only one party looking to regulate the ability to defend oneself. The first, we're talking about the Second Amendment. Then, of course, we go to the First Amendment, censor speech from political opposition. As she just said, hey, if you question election integrity, you're a threat to democracy. There's only one party that wants to weaponize the federal government against opposition, like FBI raids, like handing over credit card information if you happen to have purchased too many handguns. It's not even close. I don't know who's buying the bullshit at this point, but there's a good portion of this country that is. You're not going to find common ground with them. There are people with whom you can find common ground, but if people believe that limited government conservatives are the semi-fascists, then there is no pleasing you. Here's another truth for you. Don't let this tin can we're about to hit you in the teeth. There's also only one party that wants to, what? Of course, pack the court. And they want to nuke the filibuster for abortion and things like voting rights. And what they mean by that is not have to present ID. So if you say, hey, hold on a second, we need election integrity, they label you a fascist simply for wanting people to present identification to vote, while these actual fascists will change the fundamental institutions of government in order to be able to ram through things like no voter ID, things like packing the Supreme Court, doing away with the filibuster. Here she is describing it in her own cackles.
Our president has said he will not let the filibuster get in the way. If the Senate, through a majority vote, votes to pass the Women's Health Protection Act, he will sign it into law. You know what that means? In the midterms, we need to hold on to the Senate and get 2 more. And then we can put into law the protections
She
of Roe
holds
v.
up
Wade.
2 for way too long with her
Everything is on the
fingers.
line when you think about the millions of women and people in America who care about them,
Wants them to
who understand
smell
the
them.
significance of protecting a woman's right to make decisions about her own body
The
instead
Democrats
of her
get 52
government
Senate seats.
telling her what to do.
I hate you. Shut up.
52 Senate seats or more. Legislative filibuster gone.
The filibuster, by the way, that we have video of Democrats supporting, including, former Vice President himself, Joe Biden, saying that it's an institution.
Right.
We can't get rid of this, right? This is how you protect the country from losing its way, is to not just let everything kind of go through. And by the way, you start making promises to Joe Manchin and not fulfilling those promises to get his vote to swing legislation, which is what just happened. That's also bad for democracy. That's not how you're supposed to do business. Your ideas should be good enough to stand on their own, and they're not.
Can we really think of, outside of questioning the election, did Donald Trump, when he was in power, try and do away with any institutions? Did he try and change the number of seats to the courts? Did he encourage doing away with the filibuster? I mean, people may not have liked his appointments, but they were well within the realm of constitutionality and certainly the precedents that we have available to us. I can't even think of something comparable.
And they were confirmed, too, which is weird.
Right.
Can we agree that interview is the second worst 9/11?
Well, there was another one.
Top three.
Top three.
Yeah, I think we can say top three.
Top three for sure.
She's like the Halloween 3 of vice presidents.
Gotcha.
She has no home.
Right.
And you don't think, is this the same?
Like,
I guess she's
really
there.
The same thing.
I don't count her.
But it's not good.
No.
Halloween 3 is kind of good. She's not good.
She's the kind of broad who, when people played Duck, Duck, Goose, they didn't count her.
Right.
There's like, duck, and they moved on down the trail. And she is in charge of your life. The problem is right now, there are a handful of people, my litmus test for conspiracies, and I'll leave you with this. The litmus test for conspiracies is how many people have to be involved. Area 51, of course, you don't think that someone who's working there, a day worker, an independent contractor is going to blab. So it's pretty tough to buy into these. But when you're talking about a handful of people, Elizabeth Warren, Eric Adams, right, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, they send a letter out to credit card companies, and Visa, MasterCard, American Express say, aye, Captain, we'll make sure to create a gun registry. Sorry, not a gun registry. We'll create a code. When you have just a handful of people who say, you know what, we're going to do away with the legislative branch. Let's do away with the filibuster. Let's also, by the way, we have executive. You watch Schoolhouse Rock, right? You have executive, you have judicial, we have the legislative. Well, you know what? Let's just make it all executive. Let's do away with the legislative. Let's get rid of the filibuster and some of these guardrails that we have. You know what? Let's do away with the judicial, which is supposed to be the most autonomous. Let's pack the court as the current president sees fit. So, you know what? It's just all executive. It's all and what do you end up with? You end up with a king. You end up with a dictator. You end up with fascism. And this is what the left does. They project and they accuse you of doing exactly what it is that they are doing. They accuse you of being a fascist for not wanting your gun purchases being reported to the government, for not wanting people to be deplatformed, even people that you disagree with, for not wanting huge bailouts to companies who then turn back and do the government's bidding, for not wanting to change the you're blamed for not trusting the institution of the Supreme Court because you want to keep it as is, and they want to pack it. Whose fault is it that we don't trust any of these institutions? Because I will tell you what, and we'll have Alex Jones on this Wednesday as an Ash Wednesday. We'll see what happens there.
Good luck.
Get me fitted for my tinfoil hat, because I'm at the point where I'm going, there are just a few people running this game, and they are running it into the ground.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.